All right, welcome back to the training on breaking down the $100 million launch from Alex Hormozi. All right, so in the last video, we talked a little bit about his registration page, his offer, his book, some of the ads that he's running, and some pretty unique things. So today, what I want to do is I want to break down the funnel, kind of like draw it out for you guys to show you how it looks. And then I want to break down his affiliate offer so you guys can see it. So I'm going to be doing a couple different parts for this as the launch goes on. But here's a couple things that I'll just be thinking right now. Right now, he did just based on right now where we're on the timeline. We're about at the time of this particular training right now. He's about 30 days, maybe a little bit closer to like 21 days out. And so he started off with an email, then he kickstarted it and wrapped it around affiliates, and then he started running ads. So it started with an email, then it went to affiliates, then he went to ads, kind of simultaneously. And all those are driving to one particular funnel, and we'll draw that out for you guys and show you guys how that looked. And then he makes a different offer, which is to the affiliates, and I want to break that down on this particular video. But I want to just kind of show you a little bit about what the offer kind of looked like. So I'm going to jump over to my screen here and show you my screen just for a second, show you how that looks. So you can see how that looks about that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so I want to talk you through this kind of funnel here, his offer number one. And let's talk about this, right? So the idea here is on the left-hand side, and I'm showing you guys kind of how this looks. On the left-hand side, we go email, right? Email is the first pillar that sends people to this page, right? And that's the idea. Then he's going to have another thing over here, which is ads. Dean Gracia OC calls it the wagon wheel approach. All right. And I've used this plenty of times. Okay. Then here he's going to be doing content. Right. All pushing to this one thing. And then he involves affiliates. So in this case, he's going to be involving affiliates now. Affiliates. Now, this is the same thing as affiliate emails, right? So I'll say affiliate emails because you're going to see a different offer over here. So all roads are leading to this one landing page. Now I broke down the landing page to what it kind of looks like. So the landing page has always a headline, and for him, it's an image and then a button. Okay. And so it's really kind of three things. So on the image here, it's really curiosity based up here, right? Because you have to click on it, and then there's a button, there's a pop-up that comes up, a button that pops up. And on that pop-up, so I'll just do like a pop-up here. Okay. And then what happens is once you opt in, the first thing they do is an upsell. Okay. And what this is trying to do is he's trying to liquidate ad spend. Okay. For those of you that don't know what that means, is he's trying to make his money back from the ads so that he's not negative when he goes into this event, which he's gonna, try to. I don't know what he's pitching there, but I'll break down some numbers probably on another video of what my expectations are based on what we've done. Again, my name is Dan, and we've done a couple $1 million using the same model. And we do a couple $1 million a year. And if you can watch some of my other videos on this, I'll tell you about that. But this right here is to liquidate the ad spend that he's doing over here. He's trying to break even or not lose a lot of money on the ads. And this is the way to do it. So he could have just gave away his book, but he chose to upsell. Now the upsell here has the text, right? What did you get? This text right here kind of tells you what you get. The button to go to a purchase page, to a checkout page. And then on the bottom here, if you don't want to do this, okay, because there's a little opt out, instead of the upsell, they say, okay, do you not want to buy this? Okay, perfect. You don't have to buy the book. You're going to come to the training. You don't need the book, right? So he's like, here he's selling pre-order. So he's pre-ordering the books so they get first copy, first dibs or whatever. And that's what this video does right here. And this date right here is really this date right here is all about just telling them, sorry, the video tells them all about the offer, which is the pre-order stuff. The date right there tells them about when the event's going to happen, what you get, is this is the, I guess you could say, itemize the bill, right? It's like get this, you get this, you get this, kind of like a restaurant menu. You get that thing there, okay? Then you get plus there's more. And then at the bottom, usually every page follows the same framework. At the bottom, there's an FAQ section right here. Tell me more about this information. Tell me more. And then there's a last call to action out here to go back to the button to go buy the thing. And it all goes to this checkout page. All right. But what happens if they say no to buying the book pre-order? So if they say no to purchase, it says there's a little thing there that says success, blah, blah, blah. And then it says this video right here. It's a video, and it says what to do next, right? And then he reminds you of the dates. And then what he does is he does the affiliate offer, which hopefully I'll have some time to break it down in this video. He breaks down, he invites you to become an affiliate. Let your friends know about this, right? He invites you to become an affiliate. We won't talk about that now. I'm just talking about the front end stuff, the front end machine, because there's two machines going simultaneously, but I want to make sure you understand the first machine before I lay into the second machine. So this is offer number one. On the checkout page, I'm assuming he's using like Shopify or something like that, right? And so on the checkout page, it says what you get. Again, a reminder of the book. Plus, he has an order bump. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what that means, it's kind of like um, when you go to Walmart, and right before you're gonna check out, there's a stand right there. And if you don't know this, the majority of the money is spent. The majority of the people that buy stuff right there, it's like the gums, the candies, the chips, all that right there sitting at the checkout. That's the best opportunity to be because it's an impulse buy. It doesn't require a lot of thinking, right? It's like, okay, I want it also, right? I'm already checking out. I might as well bring something else with me. So that's why that checkout stands right there are phenomenal ways to increase the order value of what you're doing. So like if you're going to Walmart, you spend $100, maybe you'll spend an extra $20 on just candies, cookies, or whatever you want um, at the checkout as well. So that's how they get that from 100 to $120. This is how they do it. This is the secret tactic. Okay, and then they pay. Okay, so I paid for this. I paid for the book. I didn't get the order bump because I didn't think I needed it. I didn't think I needed it. So then that takes you to the success page. It's roughly the same. Okay, it's the exact same thing, really, of the one before. So if you look at this one below, it's about the same. It's exactly the same. This one probably, I don't know why this one doesn't have the dates, the event, the details of the event. Maybe I messed that up. But usually it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same, just a different video. Thank you so much for purchasing or whatever. You're a VIP. Probably going to say that right here. Video, same thing. The video is exactly the same. The video is roughly, I don't want to say that. It's roughly the same. You can go and check it out yourself, but it's roughly the same. Okay. And really here, he just tells you about the details of the event and then the button here. This button, what's interesting about this button on this page is it goes back. It tells you to go back and buy this thing. So in case you didn't buy the upsell the first time, he asks you to go buy it the second time, right? And so in that way, he gets another shot at making money. And this is very important because most people miss this part right here. They just think, oh, well, I didn't make money, so therefore I won't make money. Okay. And then from there, okay, this is the machine right here. Okay. But now let me talk to you about some numbers so you can really understand how this is going to work because I've done this personally multiple different times. And one thing I wish people would share more of is behind the scenes of the actual numbers that they would probably be doing or hypothetically be doing, right? Now, his numbers might be way higher because he's like a brand name. He's got this all good juju. He's got a big content brand. But typically on cold advertising, and we've spent over $2 million our own money so far, I can show you some of the numbers that I would be looking at. Okay. And so now I'm going to take you into some numbers on the front end. This is on the front. Like this is meaning he's spending money on ads. How much can he spend? Right? This is kind of like how you do your math. And the math determines the path. So the potential, what we call average order value. Okay, I'm just going to write it out. Average order value. Okay. This is average order value is AOV. Most of you guys that are in the service businesses don't really understand what that is, but let's say, for an example, um, we work with a lot of accountants. Let's say, for an example, someone buys a tax plan for $20,000. Okay. But then as soon as they buy the tax plan, you say, hey, do you want to do bookkeeping as well for an additional year? And the bookkeeping is 10,000, right? So your average order value or your average cart value, or your, I guess you could say your total cart value would be $30,000, meaning there's an opportunity to upgrade, right? And so I'm going to break down the numbers on how you can kind of do this even for the service business when you're talking about, like for us, we work with a lot of accountants. So let's say you do a tax return and then you add on credit repair. Well, that increase, there's a percentage of people that are going to add on credit repair, which means now your tax return isn't $400, maybe it's $450. And you spread that across 1,000 clients. Now you have $50 more per client. Now, not all clients are going to take it, but that's how you do this math right here. Okay, so let me break this down. Cell number one, this is how you kind of come up with it. How you come up with a average cart value or an average order value, the same term. Okay, so what you do is cell number one, in this case, it could be service number one, right? And then sale number two is $462. That's how much it costs. That's the actual cost. Now you do the math to figure out what your average cart value looks like. And the way you do that, and here's my hypothetical, right? Because I've seen enough upgrades to tell you that the hypothetical upgrade rate is going to be somewhere in the range of 10 to 30%. Now, the reason why I'd be closer to 30% is because he's have a good offer, a good audience, he's got good messaging. There's a lot of variables to that. So he probably could do higher than that. But let's take the conservative route just so that we can understand what's the lowest he can spend to get a customer before losing money. He's going to lose money on the front end, I believe. He might not. He might make some money, right? And this is how these guys play. This is how these guys play at the highest level, hundreds of millions of dollars. They can function at a negative because they know the back end is strong. Okay. And on another video, I'll talk you through kind of like breakdown of how you can structure this to make sure like how you can structure this in a way that your back end will be strong enough that you can, even if you cannot make all your money back on the ads in the front, you'll make it in the back and you're profitable, like crazy profitable. Okay. So anyways, that's that. So the way you do that is, let's say we have 100 customers. Okay. This is a hypothetical. All these things are hypotheticals. I don't know this to be true in any way. 100. Now let's take this 10%. So the way that you do this to find out how much his average cart value would be is you're going to take 100 times 0.1. Okay. That's 10% of the people that see that page take the offer, right? 10%. So you do that, and that gives you the amount of units you're going to sell times the actual cost of that thing, right? That's one number, which will give you $4,621. Okay. Then you do the same math for the first people, the total number of purchasers. So 100 times 29.99, which is the book, which will give them close to $3,000. Notice that the upgrade, even though it's 10%, it's double the profit, right? That's what's really, really important. That's why people can lose money on the front end because their back end systems are really, or their back end profits are really high. This is how this works at the highest level. And again, if you want to learn how to do this for your own company, simply just reach out. You can actually just put in the chat, like put below, I need help or something like that, and we'll reach out to you. But the idea here is, this is what we do, right? For accountants, CPAs, tax advisors, tax strategists. But I'm showing you guys how we launch. This is the same process we use. Okay, so now what you do is you take both of these numbers here and you add them together. So 29.99 plus 46.21 equals 7,620. That's how much he made from 100 people. He made $7,000. Now what you do is you divide it by 100, and that gives you your ACV, your average cart value, meaning he could spend up to $76 or thereabouts, because there's some fees in the book shipping and all that stuff, but he's willing to hit the cost. I'm assuming he's taking the cost for that, taking the hit for that. But he can spend $76 to get someone to buy the book. He can spend $76 because, and that's on the low end. Now, if it was higher, well, obviously you would multiply this, I think, by three. So by three, if you multiply this by three, I don't know if that's the right math. Don't quote me on that. But let's just say hypothetically, he could spend $76. Let's say times three. Yeah, pretty close to 228. $228 per lead per $29 book, right? So you can spend $76 to get a person to buy a $30 book. See what I mean? And so that's the way these big players play to liquidate their ad spend. So that's all on the front end, guys. This is not even like, this is what, like, stacking up. Now we add a traffic layer. This is the conversion mechanism. This is how they're converting and making money. Now, let's say, let's just take it even further here. Let's say instead of, right? Because this is, I'm already here. I might as well go through it. Okay. Let's say he gets 1 million subscribers, 1 million people, which I think is pretty in line with what he's going to do. Now, how he gets 1 million people, um, that's that's because of this over here. That's because of these traffic sources over here, these things. And I don't know if he's going to do this, but he should. Podcast interviews, podcast shows. So what Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins do when they do a launch, they go on to all these podcasts and then they have an interview, but the interviewer is an affiliate. And when they are an affiliate, what they do is they basically just have, in this case, it would have Hormozi on the show, and Hormozi would push his book. Kind of like when they're doing a new movie, all the big actors come onto on the late night shows where all the distribution is. They go where it's at, and what they do is they simply just um, what they do is they go and they try to promote this movie, or in this case, this book, this landing page, as much as possible. Okay, that's how they're going to get to 1 million people. Okay, but now let's say hypothetically he gets to 1 million people, and assuming the same numbers apply, what is that? Add one, two, three. Is that one, two, six? Okay, so we're gonna add we're gonna add, wait, 4 zeros to the 7,600. So 7,6. That's not zero. That's actually a number. That's not money. That's 1 million people. Okay. 7, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That seems like really big. Yeah, 76 million. I think that's really high, but that might be right. That might be right. Someone can check me in the chat. You could check my math. But again, so even if he makes this, right? And it would cost him, yeah, that sounds about right. If you make 76 million, but it probably costs you maybe 50 million or what, or something like that. But nonetheless, okay, where this really plays out, let's just use the 100 because I think I lost everybody with that. Let's use the 100. Okay. So let's say, okay, he spent 10,000 to get 100 buyers, right? And he made $7,620 made back. Okay, so what you do is you do this 76,27620. So his net spend right there, how much he netted on the spend here is at 10,000 minus 72,7620. He spent really out of pocket about $2,000 to get 100 customers. Okay, but this is where it takes it to the next level. Now we have 100 buyers registered for this event, or 100 people. Sorry, not 100. Yeah, 100 buyers registered for this event. Okay, 100 buyers. And let's say 20% actually show up. 20%. Okay. Whoa. 20%. I don't know what happened there. So let's say 20% of these people show up. Okay. Which I think that that's totally doable because we get about 20 to 30%. Okay. So that's 20 people show up at a 10% close, whatever he's closing them on. And let's say hypothetically, his upsell is 5K, which I don't know if he's going to do an upsell or if he's going to pay, if someone's going to pay. But let's say that, right? Times uh, 20% times one would be two. He would sell two. So he'll sell two people equal to two times, let's say his big ticket sale or mid ticket sale, right? His mid ticket is $5,000, right? So now he made an additional $10,000 over here. All right. And so let's take this number back over here. So now we do plus $10,000 extra. All right. So now his net, he actually made off of these 100 buyers, he made 8,000, whatever, I don't know, 7,000 something. So 10,000 minus 2,380. So he actually made closer to 7,600 bucks for every $7,600 for every 100 buyers he has. So that's his net profit right there, or gross profit, I guess you can say, because all the fulfillment costs and all that stuff. But again, so his objective here is to find out how we can get this amount of money as max as possible. And there's going to be a percentage of people he's going to try to upsell. So now we have two buyers here, but now we have 100 people that we can actually follow up with to get this, because now we have 92 buyers that did an upgrade. See what I mean? That's a lot. So I know we went over a lot today. On the next training, I will break down offer number two, which is the affiliate funnel. I know I broke down a lot of the numbers here, but this is how financially, this is the model here on how he's going to make the money if he did this way. But even if he doesn't sell a $5,000 thing, he will make it up with the publicity from selling, getting 1 million people registered. Okay. And so in the next video, I'll break down the funnel for the affiliates and what assets we were given so that we can promote it as well to fill up this funnel. Now, this funnel right here is the key. This process, this little process here is the key. So this offer right here is the key. Everyone, all the affiliates are pushing this process, and his financials, his financial modeling is based on this over here. So he can spend money to acquire people and lose money because he knows all it's about volume now. It's just about the volume and making sure this numbers track, making sure this hits, making sure this hits, right? Making sure the show up rate is there, making sure the buyer rate is there, making sure this upsell rate is here. So like what I would be checking if I'm a funnel optimization, if I know the costs of what my products are or my services, in this case, I have as like a CRO or conversion rate optimization, right? A chief revenue officer, what I'd be doing is I'd focus on this thing. I'd focus on making sure this number goes up, making sure we have, 100 buyers. That's pretty good. Making sure the show up rate goes higher, right? There's a couple things I can influence right here. The conversion rate. So this right here is conversion rate. These are all numbers that are very, very important. And then the pricing. So if all he did was change this from five to $10,000, excluding changing nothing else, he would take that and literally put another $10,000 in his pocket. So to go from 7,000 to $17,000 per registrant. And so this is why it's important in mid-ticket, right? And let's just assume we put an extra zero behind this and we have another 10% down here of that 20 to buy a $20,000 thing, then all the math just goes wonky. This is how people make hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, this is how they do it. And so in the next one, like I said, I'll break down the affiliate offer. This is just me kind of giving back to you and also giving back to myself to remember how do we get here in the first place. So on that note, see you in the next one. Peace.